Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight podcast presented by CVG. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank, and I hope you guys are having a great Monday. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Rich Palmer of Mental Health America of Northern Kentucky and Southwest Ohio. He highlights two of their upcoming events as well as the importance of mental health awareness. On NKY at Work, Nancy Spivey is joined by Scott McGohan, recently retired chairman of McGohan Broadbender, who joins us to talk about the upcoming HR 100 event, It's Okay, I'm Okay, happening on Wednesday, May 8th. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CVG, our title sponsor, C Crew Consulting, our digital sponsor, and our episode sponsor, Schneller Knockelman. Are you registered for the 2024 Business Impact Awards? Join us on Thursday, May 2nd at Drees Pavilion as we celebrate the success and strength of the Northern Kentucky business community. The Business Impact Awards, presented by Huntington Bank, recognize businesses small and large, new and long-standing, who are impacting the Northern Kentucky community through innovation, creativity, strong business practices, and leadership. You can register for that event now at nkychamber.com/BIA or nkychamber.com/events. Now, let's go hear the business news roundup from Link NKY, meet our members of the week, hear from our sponsors, and Nancy and I will be back with this week's guests.
The Link NKY Business Roundup is sponsored by Payroll Partners. Business owners, CFOs, and HR pros just don't have time for hold times and hotlines. They need payroll partners. Welcome back to another Link NKY Weekly Business News Roundup. For Link NKY, I'm Noah Jones, here to fill you in on the latest business news of this past week. Let's begin. The Newport City Commission approved the development agreement for the World Peace Bell Block Hotel project, allowing the project to move forward with conditions. Spearheaded by local hoteler Sean Pan, the project includes 2 Hilton hotels, offices, and a public parking garage. The agreement involves finalizing garage designs and negotiating a maximum guaranteed price. Plans for relocating the World Peace Bell to General James Taylor Park are underway, with the developer responsible for the disassembly and relocation costs. The developer aims to meet capital investment requirements by October 2025. The project includes provisions for a public bidding process and local hiring. Amazon faces allegations of union busting and workplace retaliation at its KCVG facility in Hebron, Kentucky, in front of its National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, in Cincinnati. During the hearing, the NLRB issued a subpoena to Amazon for video evidence related to alleged surveillance and interrogation of workers. Amazon's lawyers cited privacy concerns regarding the release of the video. Travis Levinsky, a lawyer for the ALU KCVG, criticized Amazon's delay tactics and accused the company of trying to avoid accountability for its anti-union conduct. Despite Amazon's denial of these allegations, workers are ready to testify. The case highlights broader issues of power dynamics and surveillance in workplaces, as observed by experts. While organized labor unions face challenges, Amazon maintains its stance, stating that employees have the chance to join a union and deny any disciplinary action against workers exercising their rights. They emphasize their commitment to providing a safe and inclusive workplace, competitive pay, and opportunities for career growth. Independent city officials, including Mayor Chris Rainersman and council members Carl Franzen and Dave Schaefer, convened to discuss the city's financial outlook and potential projects for the upcoming fiscal year. While no official action has been taken, the meeting provided insight into the city's priorities. Rainersman outlined budget projections, emphasizing a conservative approach and a shift towards payroll taxes over property taxes. Proposed projects include debt service for the municipal building, salary increases for the police department, investments in police equipment, public works salary adjustments, park improvements, road repairs, and possibly a splash pad, though opinions of the latter were mixed. Despite uncertainties, Rainersman expressed confidence in the city's financial health and reserves. A complete draft of the proposed budget will be released before the council's meeting on May 6th. Finally, Money.com recently recognized the city of Covington as one of the best places in the United States to live. The city's unique style, highlighted by attractions such as the Main Strasse Village with its murals and German-style chimes clock tower, contributed to the selection. It found that DeVal Park offers stunning views of the Cincinnati skyline, while the Globe provides a variety of bourbon options for its residents. Covington's Board of Commission member Tim Downing expressed appreciation for the national recognition, affirming the city's appeal as a great place to live. Let's get to round up the Link NKY Business News Roundup for this week. For Link NKY, I'm Noah Jones. Thanks for listening. I'll talk with you all next week.
Why would you travel to England?
For football.
To go or not to go?
That is an easy question.
To visit the land of Shakespeare.
To take in all the sights.
Authentic fish and chips.
To experience arts and culture.
2 words, British Open.
To visit my family.
Same reason I go anywhere. For a pint of beer. To start my trip through Europe.
Whatever your reason, there's no better time than now.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C-Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C-Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C-Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Chris Knockelman with Schneller Knockelman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. It's spring now, but before you know it, our ACs are working overtime.
Dave, it's going to be warm soon.
Right now is a good time to get the AC serviced, right?
You can get your AC tuned up for only $59.
So get your $59 tune-up at
SKPHA.com. SKPHA. So if your plumbing and mechanical systems give you trouble, just remember our name, Schneller Knockelman.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we will highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. For more than 30 years, Taft Law's Northern Kentucky office has been providing legal guidance to businesses, public entities, and individuals. Sunrise Children's Services provides therapeutic foster care, residential therapeutic treatment, and community-based services statewide. Since 1945, Vioxx & Vioxx has been providing civil engineering, land surveying, landscape architecture, and planning services across the greater Cincinnati region. At the Lawrence firm, they understand the needs of their clients. With more than 50 years of experience serving clients, TLF continues to provide effective legal representation to the catastrophically injured. Pregnancy Center West is a pro-life nonprofit organization serving the Northern Kentucky and greater Cincinnati area, providing support, materials, services, and resources to women facing unplanned pregnancies. Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Rich Palmer. Rich is with Mental Health America of Northern Kentucky and Southwest Ohio.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, so let's jump right into it. Tell us about your organization. You guys serve a lot of people here in the greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky region. Tell us about what you guys do.
We do. We are almost entirely grant funded,
Wow.
which is wonderful. We thank our funders. We receive federal grants, state grants, and even some local in-kindness type support. And then, the occasional in-kind donation from someone in the public that wants to support. But our role really is to break the stigma about talking about mental health and how we're doing. It's an opportunity for people to learn wellness in their home, wellness in their workplace. We do support recovery and substance use challenges, and we have a center for that. We do support services for people who are in recovery who may need some assistance getting their bills paid or making sure they're channeling their money in the right places. So we're a very diverse organization. Our biggest efforts really have been in education and awareness.
Yeah.
So we do statewide in Ohio. We cover the mental health first aid training for the whole state of Ohio through a grant through the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and also from the Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services. So these monies come in, we are able to train. And mental health first aid, since we started training that about 4 years ago, we've trained over 20,000 people, and the number just keeps growing exponentially. So fast enough I don't catch up.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible the conversation change that we've seen over the course of the past few years. I'm sure, obviously, your organization has been around for a really long time. You guys have been doing education efforts for decades.
Right.
What are you seeing in this space is this conversation about mental health, mental wellness, and obviously with substance abuse disorder, all those conversations have changed so much.
They really have. They really have. And coming from a public safety background, I can tell you that stigma is high, and it's not just in that community. It's in every workplace, it's in every space, and it's in our homes. And some cultures have not traditionally talked about their wellness. They haven't talked about what's happening, or even words such as, we don't talk about that outside the home.
Right.
Or we just don't bring that up. And now people are more willing to have the conversation because we're finding more and more of us are struggling in some way. And of course, the statistics are high. 1 in 5 people, are at risk of suicide. And that number is actually going to 1 in 4 right now. So even the 1 in 5, organization is saying, we don't want to change our name, but the stat is different.
Yeah.
So people are talking more readily. There's a lot of work to do. It is okay to not be okay for a while, and it is okay to say it because then we can find the help we need.
Right. I think that's so important, so vital. We have a lot of chamber members who are kind of working in this space, kind of changing that conversation because, like you said, I know you talked about your background in public service a little bit before we started, but when I was back in news, we didn't talk about the underlying conditions that would lead someone into a substance use disorder or things like that. Obviously, that conversation has changed a lot over the past 5 years even.
Yeah. It really has been that recent that we've started to see a turn in the opportunity to say what's going on.
Right. And I think, and you guys have an event coming up that kind of touches on that, so we'll kind of lead into that as well. So tell us about this event you guys have coming up. You guys have a big education summit happening.
We do. We have an annual education summit that we offer, and it's very much targeted toward those who work in support services, behavioral health, substance use, recovery, even frontline health care. We sometimes see our nurses and our doctors and our EMTs and we'll see people like that attend as well. But that is, it's very simply called the Mental Health America Education Summit, because we're very original in that way. But this year is our 7th year. We're having that on May 18th. And we're pretty excited because our keynote speaker is Maya Salovitz. And I had to look at that real quick. But she is a person with lived experience, but she's also really involved in neurosciences. She journals, and she's a mental health advocate. What's recent that we found out was she was also featured on the #1 rated Netflix series called Cons, Cults, and Kidnapping.
Oh, wow.
Which we weren't aware when we booked her, but that's a recent thing. But it's pretty exciting because they talk a lot about her story. So she's going to be our keynote. But this is a very low-cost summit. It's a $50 summit. People that can attend get CEUs for their work, so they'll be able to get their education credits, and it's a network opportunity as well. We find some of the strongest relationships are built in these type of events, and some of the best conversations are held in the hallway, between sessions. So we really encourage people to sign up. They can go to our website and just click the link for Education Summit. They can get in there and get scheduled for the day.
Yeah, it sounds like a great event. And I'm wondering, so we have a lot of people, obviously, who are working in that HR space that listen to the podcast. Is this something that would be applicable for people who are dealing with substance use disorder issues in the workplace? Is that something that would also be good for them?
We have a lot of different sessions going on, and I think that this topic will be addressed readily this year. Each year kind of has a different theme. But one of the things that we like to see is we offer, especially those working in the school environment, so we might see counselors coming to learn more. because we do see our youth, we do see our college students are struggling with challenges as well. And sometimes they enter into these without knowing that they're going down a path of addiction. And so, the counselors, social workers, marriage and family therapists, anybody that deals in the workplace with people who are struggling. So HR professionals could be part of this conversation. And so we do see, a variety, and it's a very diverse working population.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of people that come on and talk about how we are supporting our workforce who does struggle with that substance use disorder. A lot of time, I'm sure you guys are really involved with that on your end as well.
We get a lot of conversations, and we do a small amount of therapy in-house. Most of our therapy is based on pro bono efforts. So people who are really struggling to make ends meet, and they qualify for our pro bono counseling. So we do see a lot of people crossing paths saying, I know I'm going the wrong direction. I don't know what to do about it, but I don't know how to break away from it. And so, getting in early intervention is always best, because early intervention means much more early recovery. But when we wait too long, and we see people that will go up to 10 years before they even decide they want to look for a solution, it's going to take that long to recover. It's going to take that long to find yourself in a more centered space. And it's not an easy journey. So the earlier you get involved, the better.
Yeah, that's very important. I know as someone who has family members who have struggled with substance use disorder, watching that recovery process, it's long, it's hard, it's very involved.
It's work.
It is work.
It is work.
It's capital W work.
Yes. Yes.
But you guys also have another event later on in the month. So you have the Education Summit on the 10th, and then you have this event on Monmouth and Newport coming up on the 18th. So tell us about this one as well.
Yeah. So May 10th is the summit, and I think I misspoke earlier. May 10th is the summit. May 18th is our Mental Health on Monmouth Community Day. So right there in Newport, right next to the Government Center on Monmouth, we have our Peer Recovery Center. It's our Peer Recovery Community Center. And we work daily with people through support groups, through, addiction services, through these support services that I talked about earlier. They like to have this annual event to just bring the community together. And it's people from all backgrounds. So you don't have to be engaged in the recovery center to come to this event. We really encourage the public to come and learn about the services, what they can do to support their community, what they can do to help their loved ones, their friends, their coworkers. And it's always a fun event. We'll have food trucks, a band is playing. There will be, many vendor booths where you can learn more about other services. And of course, prizes.
So, we love prizes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's being held on May 18th, and it's from noon to 3. So it's a short event, but come on down, enjoy the time, and hear some good music.
Yeah. That sounds like great. It sounds like you guys have a lot going on. If you guys look towards later on in the year, do you guys have other big events coming up on the horizon, or are these your two big ones this summer?
Well, there's always something in motion. And I really encourage people to take a look at our calendar, because we have lunch and learn sessions. We have things you can pop in for 30 minutes, have your lunch, and learn something new about how to better approach wellness in your life. And there's so many dimensions of wellness. So there are opportunities to learn how to better organize your workspace, or have better nutrition, or maybe you need some financial wellness. You need to get some, suggestions on how to approach a budget. We do all of these different sessions throughout the year, and we tie those together with these bigger events, because we know when you walk away from something, you tend to be pretty excited about it, but over time it trickles away. So we continuously build our calendar so that we can reach people with new events and new opportunities.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of great opportunity to learn, to get involved with you all. Outside of the website, what are ways that people can learn more about your organization, or is the website the end-all be-all for you guys?
Well, the website is a place of plenty of information, but it's also out of date, so we're working on it, and that's the case with most nonprofits, is we're always trying to catch up. But we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we post regularly on LinkedIn. So, if you're in the professional community and you want to get involved as an advocate or a network partner, or just learn more about what we're up to, any of those profiles are great. So, yeah.
Well, great. Well, Rich, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking with us today. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you think our viewers and listeners need to know about Mental Health America of Northern Kentucky and Southwest Ohio?
Yes, there's a primary opportunity that we have through our national affiliation. So Mental Health America of Northern Kentucky and Southwest Ohio is the regional affiliate, and there are others nearby. But Mental Health America, the national, offers a screening tool. And it's available online. It's private. It's confidential. You don't have to put any personal information in there. But if someone is just kind of wondering where they are, how am I doing, or am I doing well, or is this an off day? Am I having a bad time? What the hell is wrong with me? Those kind of things. It's a great place to go take a couple little screenings that don't take but just a few minutes each. And it gives you an indicator that, you may have a challenge with this, or you may be leaning toward anxiety or depression or anything really. And then connects you to resources, tools, and even some self-care opportunities that you can address and say, maybe I need to do more of this or that. It's a great resource, absolutely free, grant funded, always available. I really encourage it. And it's mhascreening.org.
Yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity. Like you said, as we continue these conversations as a country, as a region, it's great to know, hey, is my brain okay right now? Or like maybe I need a little bit of extra help right now.
Need a little boost. Yeah. And the nice thing is, that's a nice first step if you're afraid to talk. If you don't want everybody to know your business and you just want to find out, is this something unique about me? Or am I dealing with something that almost everybody I know is also dealing with but is afraid to talk about? It gives you those tools.
Yeah. Well, that is very valuable. Well, Rich, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Nancy Spivey, Vice President of Talent Strategies with the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. And on today's NKY at Work segment, I am talking to Scott McGohan. Scott, you're the retired McGohan Brabender Chairman. Tell me what that means in the history.
Yeah. So I retired April 1st.
Woo!
Yeah, 35 years.
So a couple of days ago.
Yeah, yes. So it's been interesting.
How many years?
35.
And what is McGohan Brabender for those who do not know?
We represent, we're a benefits broker. So we help organizations with their health insurance and their benefits package. So securing those financially, engaging the workforce, and then managing those financially for about 1,400 different companies.
Oh, wow.
In 5 different markets.
Okay. Yeah. And you're based here in our metro region, correct?
Offices in Dayton, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Indianapolis, and Cleveland.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Well, congratulations on your retirement. I hope you're enjoying life and all that it has to offer.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring you on today to talk about our next HR 100 program, and you're going to be our featured speaker. And the title, It's Okay, I'm Okay, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what we're going to hear from you.
Well, I think the one thing is I wrote a book called Culture's an Inside Job. And then, but what's even more important to me than organizational culture is probably bringing to life the big issues of mental health. And how do you make that come alive inside of organizations in beautiful, compelling ways? I'm actually starting another company.
Wow.
That will lift that up, hopefully, in new ways. So I'm coming off one career and I'm going to step it into another one.
Launch another.
And we're going to see where it goes from there.
Oh, and I know, for me, just seeing, because I've been in workforce development for a number of years, and just seeing people being more open and honest about the conversation of mental health and the impact of work. So I don't know what you're planning on covering during that session. Can you kind of go into some details?
Yeah, I think for the most part, all of us are dealing with something.
Yeah. Yes.
And then can we acknowledge the fact that sometimes life's terms aren't very fair? And can we bring that to life and through vulnerability and through storytelling? Can we acknowledge the fact that our workforce, they do not leave their problems at home. They come in the front door. Right. They sit in our offices or in our buildings. And most people are afraid. And when you can kind of break that ice and kind of allow people to be open and vulnerable, other people learn. They say life's a wonderful teacher and she rarely gets an apple on her desk. So let's try to maybe share some apples with people around the impact of mental health, how it impacts your organization, how it impacts other people and families and communities, and just bring it to life in a different way.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that message. And I know for me, it seems like some of the conversations that we'll be having is focused on how leaders also have mental health challenges. And oftentimes I think, we're all so busy trying to say, how can I help the people that work for me? But what if the leader is struggling? So do you want to talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the biggest issues is sometimes as a leader, and you understand this, is like we're built to maybe pretend sometimes like we have it all together. And often we don't.
Right.
And then when we can share maybe where our weaknesses are, it lets other people know that they're not alone. Like, wow. And then it also allows us maybe permission to take a break ourselves and reflect. And as leaders, we are called to be the strongest one. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean physically. That doesn't mean verbally. That means emotionally.
Taking care of everybody else. That's right.
And so the issue of emotional intelligence and the gift of understanding that as leaders, I think it's the most important asset that we have, that we can grow into as leaders is emotional intelligence.
So I need to ask the question, what made you want to write this book and how did you get it out of in paper?
Yeah, I was having breakfast with a friend of mine. His father founded the Imes Company. Clayman Till and his son Mike. We were talking, and I deeply care about organizational culture. Mm-hmm. And then in my own journey, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I believe that we learn more through our mistakes than we do through maybe the things that we're successful with. And so this book is really a journey of the pitfalls and some of the epic mistakes that I've made over time. Not to torture myself, but to teach other people.
Sure.
I just built a life full of many masks, and it was exhausting for myself and people around me. And I gave myself the permission to tear down those masks and maybe only wear, if I have one, which hopefully I don't have any, life just gets a lot easier, a lot more peaceful. So that's really the purpose of the book, is more about individual culture and how you build that from the inside out. It's just been really, when I was 8 years old, that was probably the most happiest time it was in my life. So this book, what it taught me to do is go back and meet that 8-year-old. Go back and meet that 8-year-old in the treehouse and say, who did you want to be when you were 8? And so I met that little boy, and I was able to redeem and restore that little 8-year-old in the treehouse.
Isn't that a wonderful story? I mean, I'm really looking forward to having our audience hear your story and hear how they can implement your own knowledge into their practices. So I just think it's going to be a wonderful program. It's May 8th, 8 to 9:30 a.m. here at the Chamber. Yes, here at the Chamber. So we really look forward to it. Anything else you want to add, Scott?
No, just thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem.
I love this, and you do a beautiful job, and join us.
There you go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Rich and Scott on today's podcast. Don't forget that you can register for HR 100 It's Okay, I'm Okay happening on May 8th, as well as the 2024 Business Impact Awards happening on Thursday, May 2nd at Dries Pavilion at nkychamber.com/events. That page is a great location to find out about all of the Northern Kentucky Chamber's great programming. We have an event like nearly every week, and we would be so happy if you joined us. Thanks once again to our podcast sponsors, CVG, C Crew Consulting, and Schneller Knockelman. Finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're someone who is interested in sharing your workforce strategies and resources on NKY at Work, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen in front of you if you are a viewer, or if you are a listener, you can find that information at nkychamber.com at our staff directory. Thank you once again for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.